Bombbusters is a game for 2 to 5 players designed by Hisashi Hayashi and published by Pegasus Spiel. Picture this, a bomb. Not the ordinary sort, a mysterious one, presumably nestled deep in a quiet forest, judging by the cute animals on the picture. It's the kind of situation that requires the best of the best. Seasoned specialists with years of experience, countless diffused explosive behind, and a look of unshakable confidence. Unfortunately, they're unavailable. Instead, you are sent here, accompanied by your equally unqualified teammates. What happens next? Well, that's entirely up to you. As you may have guessed from the intro, Bombbusters is a cooperative game. You and up to 4 of your nearest and dearest, be they friends, family, or perhaps an unsuspecting neighbor, are tasked with defusing a bomb. But not just any bomb. These are animal bombs, an absurd and delightful concept wherein the devices are 99% electronics and their disarmament is achieved through the elegant and lost art of wire cutting. Think 90s action movie where the protagonists debate which wire to cut, the blue, the red, or the yellow. Except here there are like 50 blue wires, the red wires are catastrophic, and the whole affair unfolds in a blissful ignorance. You have no idea which wire is which until you cut it. Charming. So how, you ask, one defuses a bomb blindfold? Deduction, naturally. Here's the arrangement. You and your band of amateur bomb diffusers divvy up the wires into neat little bundles, about 10 to 12 wires per player. These wires, lovingly crafted in blue, red, and yellow, are yours to arrange on your personal stand in a way that should be visible only to you. The blue wires, the most abundant of the bunch, are all marked with numbers ranging from 1 to 12, each number appearing precisely 4 times. For wires number 1, for wires number 5, etc. It's all very symmetrical. You must order these wires meticulously, smallest to largest. Once everyone is prepared, the cutting commences. See, the interesting part in defusing a bomb in Bombbusters is that it requires teamwork. 2 players must cut the same wire simultaneously. Success demands precision. Imagine this. You hold all 4 wires labeled number 5. Glorious. You can sever them alone, moving the group one step closer to triumph. But more often than not, the wires are scattered among your teammates. So you must gesture toward the wire in your set and then to a wire in someone else's. If you've deduced correctly, the wires are snipped, harmony is restored, and the bomb remains blissfully inert. Then is the next player's turn. The goal is to cut all blue and yellow wires. However, if you point to the wrong wire, the team receives an error. Too many errors? Let's just say that Bambi will attend the family reunion, if you know what I mean. This admittedly clumsy explanation may lead you to think that this game is either ridiculously easy or basically impossible. Let me clarify. First, as I mentioned earlier, each number appears on exactly 4 wires. The wires are shuffled, so one player may end up with all 4 wires from a certain number, some of them or none of them. Second, you can't see the other players' wires. You need to rely on logic to deduce. First, which teammate has a wire number 5, for example? And 2, which specific wire in their set is the number 5 one? It's an equation with variables at play, further complicated by your limited view. You know the smallest wire resides on one side of the display and the largest on the other side of the display. But how small is small and how large is large? That's the riddle. Luckily, much like if I win the lottery, I won't tell no one, but there will be clues. In Bombbusters, there are clues. At the game's outset, each player can mark one wire, revealing the number to the other players. It's a simple gesture, a small kindness, but it provides just enough guidance to stave off early disaster. Of course, mistakes happen, and when they do, another corrective clue is placed on the offending wire, nudging the team back on the path to victory. Players also have access to equipment that provides various benefits like extra hints or canceling a mistake. However, to unlock this equipment, you must first cut certain wires. It's a neat mechanic that adds yet another layer of strategy. For example, some equipment might require for you to cut wires labeled number 2 to activate it. So now you're not just cutting random wires anymore. You are actively searching for a particular number of wires that you need to cut in order to activate an equipment and save the game. Probably. It's a moment of high drama, one that repeats often. As the game progresses, stakes rise, decisions grow weightier, and time slips through your fingers. Look, the game doesn't pull any punches. The detonator allows for few mistakes, hints are limited, the equipment can be useful, but it takes some effort for you to unlock it. And I haven't even mentioned the red and yellow wires. Their numbers, delightfully maddening, are fractions. Congratulations! If you hated fractions in school, this game won't make it easier for you. Yellow wires are numbered 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, etc. The red wires are numbered 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, etc. The added complexity of fractional numbers makes deduction even trickier. The red wires are particularly treacherous. Severing even one of those ends the game immediately. The yellow wires are more forgiving, but they still accelerate the detonator if you cut them by mistake. It's a delicate dance, equal parts luck and logic. Have you played The Mind or The Crew? Bombbusters is similar in that you need to play it to understand. On the surface it may seem impossible, but when you start playing it, it quickly becomes an exercise in teamwork and logic. Watching skilled players successfully deduce wires and avoid the dangerous one can feel like a magic trick. Observing and remembering what others do on their turn is as crucial for success as is the good planning of your turn. You need to pay attention what your teammates are pointing in their own set of wires, because mostly you'll be looking at your set when they are pointing at it, but you won't notice what they are pointing at in their own set. This makes sense? On top of that, you need to remember this all until your turn comes around. Planning feels almost like a choreography, a waltz of logic and wires. Wondering about replayability? Well, you can play Bombbusters as it is and you'll be just fine. But the real charm is in the missions. That's right, there are missions. 66 of them to be exact. The first 8 are gentle training exercises, charmingly designed to ease you into the game's intricacy. Beyond that, the missions are stored in separate little boxes, each representing a distinct villain. Because apparently, the forest is a breeding ground for stress and drama. Each villain adds new components, rules, and restrictions to the game. Some missions even come with stickers, some purely decorative, other meant to be placed on particular components. There's a legacy charm here, so tread carefully if you're the type to resell your games. As the missions progress, you'll be tasked to cut the wires in a particular sequence or defuse the bomb within strict time limit, and more. Each mission increases the difficulty, adding to your misery. And that, my friend, is why this game is awesome. Everything about Bombbusters is great, but it's not perfect. It has one of the most tedious setups I have ever encountered. Now, this is my personal opinion, so it might not bother you as much, but it drives me up the wall every time I need to set up this game. The wires. Here's the situation. You got 48 blue wires, 4 yellow wires, and 2 red wires. 54 in total. These tiny little tiles need to be shuffled thoroughly, then divided evenly amongst all players. Attempting this directly on the table takes absurd amounts of space. Instead, you might try tossing them into a dice tray or something and shuffle them there, as I do. Welcome to my personal torment. When shuffled, the tiles tend to flip over, exposing their numbers. So shuffling requires a level of care typically reserved for museum artifacts, is what I'm saying. They are slippery and difficult to handle, and distributing them among 4 players is just something that I don't want to do. It doesn't take ages, sure, but it's tedious and it just drives me nuts. Perhaps this frustration is by design, adding yet another layer of tension to the experience. If so, well played, designers, well played. If you've played this game and found an easier way to deal with the wires, please share it with me. Look, Bombbusters is a weird game, to a point that I'm not sure I even explained the gameplay clearly. Don't let the playful, childlike illustrations fool you. This game is hard, even the beginner missions, and it doesn't get easier as you go. The bomb activates quickly, the gameplay can feel like shake it time, stuff like that. And the setup is just a recipe for a headache. Yet for all of its quirks, Bombbusters offers something truly special. Each time you piece together the logic, deduce where the particular numbers of wires are hiding in your teammate's setting, you ask, is this a 4? And you hear a triumphant yes, intellectual fireworks. A fleeting moment of brilliance. A Nobel-worthy achievement. If you enjoy that feeling, you'll find plenty of it in Bombbusters. Now, let's dive into the details. The board and the wires are made of thick cardboard, while the other components, which are mostly cards, are possible. The transparent tiles that are used to mark finished wires are a nice touch, and the small box makes the game portable and easy to store, which is always a good thing in my book. Mechanically, the game is not hard. The rules are simple and quick to learn. The difficulty comes from the missions themselves, which grow increasingly complex. Even early missions can be challenging, especially if you're playing with less experienced players. Bombbusters is perfect for fans of games like The Mind, The Crew, and other logic-based deduction games. It's a great family game for a Saturday evening. You and your family gather around to defuse some bombs like you always do. A single mission takes between 20 and 30 minutes based on its difficulty and if there are any time constraints. The game doesn't take up much table space. A central board and stands for the wires are all you need. However, shuffling and distributing the 54 wire tiles can easily make you question your life choices. The game plays well with 3-4 players. In my opinion, playing with 5 players just makes the game unnecessarily difficult. It is also playable with 2 players, with each controlling 2 sets of wires. The experience remains largely the same. Bombbusters is a cooperative game where you defuse bombs. A surprisingly fun and unique family activity. With simple rules, adjustable difficulty and compact design, it's easy to recommend. So yeah, play it, see for yourself. Thank you. See you next time.